So we're just finding the perimeter. So how do we find the perimeter? Okay, add up all the outside edges. So on this first one, what's the perimeter of that triangle? 15. 6 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. Okay, what's the perimeter of this shape? 36. What is that shape? Okay, it's a rhombus. How do you know it's a rhombus?
Sides are the same length.
All four sides are congruent. Yes. Okay, guys, I need you to listen, please. What's the perimeter of this one? 35. Okay, 35. Just adding those up. What's the perimeter on this one?
32.
Is what?
32.
Okay, 32. Perimeter on this one?
40.
Is 40. And then the perimeter on this one? Is 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip back over to the front side here now. And let's just rewrite these formulas real quick. So on a prism, it's P times H. On total, it's P times H plus 2 times B. And then for cylinder, the lateral is 2 pi RH. Total 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. Okay, so number one, what is this thing? Okay, this is a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. Now remember, the rectangular prism is the one that's a little bit weird, a little bit different, because all of the sides of a rectangular prism are rectangles. So how do you know which side is the base on a rectangular prism? Good. On a rectangular prism, this is the only one that we do this, but we assume the side that it's sitting on is its base. Okay, so remember, what does capital P stand for? Perimeter of the base. So one of the bases is down here. This is going to be one of the other bases, so I'm just going to look at this. So we have 6, 2, 6, and 2. So what's the perimeter of the base? 16. Just 6 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2, that's 16 feet. Okay, what does capital B stand for there? Area of the base. So on this one, I'm looking for the area of this. So how do I find the area of this rectangle? That's length times width. So 6 times 2 is what? So 12 square feet. Okay, what's the height of this prism? 12. Remember, the height is the what? Distance between the bases. So in this case, 12 feet is how far it is between those two bases. Now, okay, when you see this, if you see it just says surface area, that implies total surface area. Okay? If you see it just say surface area, that means total surface area. It has to say lateral surface area to mean lateral surface area. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, this is a prism, okay, rectangular prism. So I'm going over here to the prism formulas. So the first one is total. So I'm going to go P times H plus 2 times B. So I'm going to go P times H plus 2 times B. So it's going to be 16 times 12 plus 2 times 12. All right, so 16 times 12 plus 2 times 12, 216 square whatever feet. Okay, now for lateral surface area, Okay, the formula right there for a prism is just P times H. So just 16 times 12. What does that give you? These are 192. All right, number 2. What is this thing? Okay, so this one is a triangular prism. Now, why do we call it a triangular prism? Because the bases are triangles, obviously. So when I'm looking for capital P here, what am I looking for? Perimeter of the base. I'm looking for the perimeter of this triangle right here. So it's going to be 5 plus 6 plus 5, which is what? 16. Okay. What does capital B stand for? Area of the base. So how am I going to find the area of this triangle right here? Okay, good. 6 times 4 divided by 2, because it's base times height divided by 2. So 6 times 4 divided by 2, what is that? It's 12 square yards. Now, what is the height? Okay, remember the height means what? The distance between the bases. So how far is it between the two triangles? It's 11 yards. So this is the perfect example. This thing's laying on its side, and that seems weird to have a number that's horizontal to be the height, but it is. It's just laying on its side. So the height is 11 yards. Okay, so for total surface area, we're going to do P times H plus 2 times B. Okay, 200. And then for lateral surface area, it's just P times H, right? P times H for the lateral, so I'm just going to go 16 P times H, so 16 times 11. And what is that? Is what? 176. Okay. Now let's talk about this real quick. Okay, we talked a little bit ago about the difference between lateral surface area and total surface area. Okay, let's talk about why there's a difference in these two formulas based off of what the difference between lateral and total is. Why is there this difference in these two formulas? Because what did we say about lateral surface area? It's the area of everything without the bases included, right? And remember, we've talked about this. A prism always has how many bases? It always has 2 bases. So that's the difference between lateral and total, is that the lateral does not include the area of these 2 bases. That's the difference between this and this. Is the total has the area of the bases, the lateral does not have the area of the bases. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 6 here for this cylinder. Now, like I said, cylinders are pretty easy. There's not a lot of thinking to them. All right. So what is the radius of this cylinder? It's 10. What's the height? Is 16. Okay, so for the surface area, we're going to go 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Two pi RH plus 2 pi r squared 1633.63. Okay. What units is that? Yards? Okay. And then for lateral surface area, it's just 2 pi RH. So 2 times pi times R times H. Oops. And it gives you 1005.31. Okay, let's drop down, look at one more. Let's look at this one down here on the bottom. So first of all, what shape is this? This is a hexagonal prism. All right, what does the capital P stand for? Perimeter of the base. So which sides are the bases of this? Is the hexagon. So I want to find the perimeter. So I want to add up these 6 sides. They're all 14. Minus what? Okay, so the perimeter of the base is 84 square yards. Or 84 yards, sorry. Now what does capital B stand for? Area of the base. So I want to find the area of this hexagon. So how do I find the area of this regular hexagon? How do I find the area of that regular hexagon? Okay, good. The apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. So how long is the apothem of that hexagon? It's 12.12 right here. So we're going to do apothem 12.12 times the perimeter, which we just got up, right there. So 84 divided by 2. So we're doing the apothem times the perimeter divided by 2 here. So 12.12 times 84 divided by 2. What does that give you? .04 square yards. And what is the height of this hexagonal prism? 18. Remember, the height is the distance between the bases. In this case, it is 18 yards. Okay, so again, surface area means total surface area. So we have P times H plus 2 times B. What does that give you? (2,530.08). And then for lateral surface area, it is just P times H, which is what? 1,512 square yards. So let's go ahead and look at the back side of this page of your notes. We're going to look at this side to start off with. Now, yesterday what we did is we found surface area using the nets. Like if you took that 3D shape and you unfolded it, we found the area of each piece and then added all those up. Today we're going to talk about the formulas. Okay, so the formula for total surface area of a prism is capital P times little h plus 2 times capital B. I'll get a little bit. Okay, then lateral surface area is just capital P times little h. All right. So, the total surface area, this means the area of everything. Okay, all the sides, just like what the word total would imply, it means the area of everything. The lateral surface area is the area of everything without the bases. So total surface area is the whole thing. The lateral surface area is the area just without the bases included. Now, in those two formulas right there are three variables. So let's talk about what those three variables mean. So the capital P, I think the capital P stands for, okay, it does stand for perimeter, but something more specific than that. Okay, perimeter of the base. The capital P stands for perimeter of the base. If it just means perimeter, then what are you looking for the perimeter of? You're not going to know. But that's what the capital P means, is it's the perimeter of the base. So, for instance, on this shape right here, what is this? Okay, so this is a pentagonal prism. Now, why do we call it a pentagonal prism? Because the bases are pentagons. So if I'm looking for the perimeter of the base, what I'm looking for the perimeter of is the perimeter of this pentagon. So I'm going to add up all 5 of these sides. Okay? So I'm looking for the perimeter of the base, looking for the perimeter, in this case, of the pentagon. So I would add up all 5 sides to get the perimeter. All right. What does a capital B stand for? Okay. And that makes sense. And so it does kind of, but means area of the base. Okay. Capital B stands for area of the base. So obviously, in this case, what we're doing is we're looking for the area of this pentagon. Okay, and then the last variable up here is the H. What does H stand for? Okay, the H stands for height, but we're going to be more specific than that. The height is the distance between the bases. Okay, so the distance between the bases, so it would be like this right here. This would be the height. Now, the reason I say distance between the bases is because this can get confusing sometimes. Because in this case, this pentagonal prism is standing up and down, standing up on its bases. But sometimes that's laid on its side. And so when it's laid on its side, its height is no longer vertical, but it's like a horizontal length. And so that messes people up. But this is the way I like to describe this, okay? I'm right at 6 feet tall, okay? And let's say I go into the doctor and I'm like laying on the bed at the doctor, okay? And the nurse is like, she didn't measure me out there. She just asks me as I'm laying on the bed. She says, okay, how tall are you? I don't think while I'm laying on my back, okay, let me measure from my back to the top of my stomach. Yeah, I'm about 8 inches tall or something like that. No, you don't do that. It doesn't matter if I'm standing up or if I'm laying down on the bed. I still say I'm 6 feet tall, okay? And so same thing with this right here. The height is how far it is between the bases. So sometimes that height will be going up and down. Sometimes it may be laying on its side. But you just need to think about how far is it between the bases. Okay. Now for cylinder, it's pretty easy. There's not a lot of thinking to it, but the formulas are a little bit longer here. So on a cylinder, the total surface area is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. And when I say all that, I mean 2 times pi times r h plus 2 times pi times r squared. All right, and I've got a typo there. That should be lateral surface area, 2 pi RH.